Hello, I'm Jane Green and I'm Director of Music at Leo Academy Trust. I'm here today to give you a few ideas to explore classroom percussion. I'm going to take you through a few different activities. Some are suitable for children in early years, some are suitable for children in Key Stage 1, and some others are suitable for children in Key Stage 2. So I'm going to try and cover the whole primary age range. What I thought we'd do to start with is what I always do in a music lesson, are some warm-ups. I'm going to go through a few that kind of link really nicely with exploring percussion, because they're either using body percussion or perhaps they're rhythm games. So I'm just going to take you through a few examples of warm-ups that you could do with your children, and you can sort of alter them depending on their age, make them more difficult or make them easier if you need to. So I've got some slides with these activities on, so I'm just going to present these to you now. Fingers crossed it'll all work. Okay, so just waiting for it to load. Brilliant. Right, so as you can see, we're going to be exploring classroom percussion today, which is what I've already said. So we'll just go on to the first slide. The first warm-up game that the children really enjoy is something called Don't Clap This One Back. Basically, the children, you tap a rhythm or clap a rhythm, and they clap it back to you. I use 4-beat rhythms, so say something like this, and then they clap it back, and maybe another one. Now, there's one rhythm that they mustn't clap back, and that's why it's called Don't Clap This One Back, because it is that rhythm. So it would sound like this: don't clap this one back. Listen to it again. Don't clap this one back. So basically, if you clap that one, the children must basically stay still. They don't respond. And if they do, you get a point. And if they get it right, they get a point. I tend not to sort of single children out. I don't say, oh, sit down if you get it wrong, because that means one child, if they're out right at the beginning, could be sat down for quite a long time. So try and keep everybody in the game. So just use, like a point system. If they get it wrong, you get a point. If they get it right, they get a point. Now, you can obviously make this game a little bit harder. So as well as don't clap this one back, you could add another rhythm. Perhaps you could add this. Don't clap this one either. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to demonstrate what I might do in a lesson now, and I want you to pretend you're the child. Okay, so here we go. So you're not allowed to clap, don't clap this one back, and you're not allowed to clap, don't clap this one either. Right, here we go. Now, if you clap there, I would get a point, because that was don't clap this one either. So if you clapped, you shouldn't have. So the teacher gets a point. If you didn't, then you would get a point, or the children would get a point. Okay, let's just try it this time. I'm either going to use don't clap this one back or don't clap this one either. Here we go. So that last one was don't clap this one back. So hopefully you didn't clap that one back. If you did, I would get a point. If you didn't, you'd get a point. All right. You could introduce some other rhythms, perhaps ask the children to introduce some other rhythms. I possibly might put a rhythm up on the whiteboard or put it up on the wall, perhaps like this, and try and get them to think of a rhythm or a word, words that would fit that rhythm. So this would be ti ti ta, ti ti ta. So they might say, oh, don't clap this, don't clap this. Ti ti ta, ti ti ta. Don't clap this, don't clap this. So you could actually add that one into the mix as well. This game is really suitable for children in Key Stage 2. I haven't really tried it with Key Stage 1 children. So the more rhythms you add to the mix, the harder it is. So that is Don't Clap This One Back. Obviously, I was using 4-beat rhythms, but if you want to make it even more challenging, you could extend that to an 8-beat rhythm. So they've got to remember 8 beats worth of rhythm to clap back. Okay, so everything you can do is on this slide here. So I'm just going to carry on now. The second game is called Do As I Say, Not As I Do. Now, this really focuses the children. It really gets them concentrating. Because basically, if you say hands on your head, but you put your hands on your shoulders, they should be putting their hands on their head. So they basically follow the verbal instruction rather than the physical movement that you're doing. So I'm just going to try 4 different ones here. I'm going to repeat them twice and see if you can do as I say and not as I do. Here we go. Okay. Hands on your head. Hands on your knees. Stamp your feet. Click your fingers. Hands on your head. Hands on your knees. Stamp your feet. Click your fingers. Okay, so you can obviously make up different versions of that. And as I said, the children should be copying what you're saying rather than doing. Okay, so that's a really simple game, but very good for getting the children concentrating, ready for their music lesson. Okay, you can obviously make that game easier. Like I've put here, the children can repeat the words you are saying to help them get the action right. And for older children, you can try changing the rules. For example, you could ask them to do as you did, not as you do. So without any verbal instructions. Okay, now the third game, oh, just jump there, we'll just go back a little bit. The third game is something called Switch. Now, I use this a lot at the beginning of lessons or perhaps in my music assemblies, because again, it's really, really good for getting the children to focus, to listen and to concentrate. And you can use some percussion in this as well. I often use Claves for Switch because it's a sound that they can hear over their own clapping. So there's an easy version of Switch, which Key Stage 1 children can play. Basically, you tap a 4-beat rhythm and you keep changing it and they've got to keep up with you. So basically, they're listening to everything you're doing and changing with you. As quickly as they get the rhythm, they have to start tapping along. So I'm going to tap some 4-beat rhythms. I'm going to keep changing them. I'm not going to tell you when I'm switching. You've just got to keep up with me. So here we go. and stop. Okay, right at the beginning of that version, I was obviously giving you 4 of each rhythm before I switched. Towards the end, I was only giving you 2, so that makes it a little bit more tricky. There is a more difficult version of switch. I call it catch up, because basically you are always 1 rhythm behind me. So for example, I might start by playing a rhythm, say something like this. But you don't start tapping that rhythm until I say switch. When I say switch, you start clapping or tapping the rhythm, if you want to use a percussion instrument, tapping the rhythm that I've just been playing. But I will then move on to a new rhythm. So while you're tapping the rhythm that I've just been playing, you've got to be listening to the new rhythm. And then when I say switch again, you then move to that new rhythm. But I then do another rhythm. So you're always effectively 1 rhythm behind me. That's why I call it catch up. So we'll have a go at this now. It's a bit difficult to play it, obviously, virtually, but just see how you get on. Here we go. So you don't start tapping or clapping until you hear me say switch. 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 And stop. The reason why I obviously finished before you is because I was 1 rhythm ahead of you. So hopefully you managed to do that. Right, I've got another game I want to share with you. This is a really good game just to basically get a little bit of energy in the room if they're feeling a little bit tired. It's called 8, 4, 2, 1, hey. And that's because you do 8 shakes of your right hand, 8 shakes of your left hand, 8 shakes of your right foot, 8 shakes of your left foot, and then you do 4 of those. 4 on your right, 4 on your left, 4 on your right leg, 4 on your left, then 2, 2, 2, 2, and 1, 1, 1, 1, and then you shout, hey, okay? So we're going to have a go at doing this. Really encourage the children to, feel the energy going right into their fingertips rather than limp arms. We want really, really power arms, and to shout the words out as they go, or the numbers out as they go. Here we go. Ready, off we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1. Hey! And that's basically it. The other version, you could actually go from 1 up to 8. So you start with 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, or 1, 1, 1, 1. Then 2, 2, 2, 2, 4, 4, 4, 4, and then 8 to finish with, and shout, hey. There's lots of different variations of this game. You could actually introduce dynamics. So you could start off really loudly, shouting the numbers, and then by the time you get down to 2 or 1, say them really quietly. So that's introducing some dynamics. You could get faster. You could introduce the sort of musical term tempo. So you could start slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then speed it up as you go along. So by the time you're going 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, it's really, really fast. It's really up to you. You can get the children to perhaps give you some ideas as well. Okay, so there's a few variations there if you want to have a look at those in your own time. Right, now those are basically the warm-ups that I prepared for today. We're now going to go on to the actual activities. Now, like I said, basically this session is about exploring the percussion instruments that you might have in your, on your percussion trolley, or in your music room, or in your classroom. And I'm going to start with some early years foundation stage and key stage 1 activities. I think one of the first things, the most important thing, is for children to actually have a go at, well, actually handle percussion instruments and actually just explore them, because they don't often get enough time to do that. So the first game is called Hot Potato. And basically you will need a potato. It doesn't have to be hot though, okay? So a hot potato or a potato. If you haven't got a potato, you forget to take one into school, you can use the bean bag for this. It's equally as good. You sit the children in a circle and basically sing this song. I've put the lyrics here. It goes, hot potato, pass it on. Hot potato, pass it on. Hot potato, pass it on. Get rid of that hot potato. Now, the idea of this is that you're passing the potato around the circle, or the children do, and they pass it as quickly as they can because they don't want to burn their fingers. And whoever the potato lands on, get rid of that hot potato. Whoever the potato lands on at the end of each verse gets to go into the middle of the circle and explore a percussion instrument. Now, I would put a selection of percussion instruments, and depending on the age of the children, depends on the sort of instruments you put in the circle. If they are early years children, then I would put very simple percussion instruments like claves or wood blocks, possibly some, shaky eggs, all the sort of instruments that they can handle easily. You might have, I've only got the instruments I've got at home at the moment, but you might have a small handheld drum you could possibly put into the middle of the circle as well. Then you might have a child's tambourine. I know early years have slightly smaller tambourines than this. So make sure that they're suitable for the age of the children. If you were going to do this with older children, maybe somebody in Key Stage 1, in Year 1 or Year 2, you might start adding other instruments like guiros, which are scrapers, cabasas, different types of drum. You might start to add djembe drums. And castanets, all those different instruments. So you can make it more difficult depending on the instruments you put into the middle. So anyway, once the potato is landed on that child, they then go into the middle of the circle and they choose an instrument. So say they choose the claves, they can have a little go at, you can ask them, what sound can you make on a clave? So hopefully they'll probably hold it like this, which doesn't matter. Tap it like this. And you might want to say, can you copy this rhythm? So you might want to play, and they might tap that back to you. Try and encourage children as much as possible to make sounds in a different or an alternative way as well. So for example, if they were to pick up a drum like this, obviously most of them will just hit it, which is fine. But try and encourage them to see if they can make a different type of sound. So maybe they could use their nails to sort of scratch the drum. They might be able to use their fingers to make that sort of pitter-patter. You might use the side of the drum, which makes a very different sound. So there's all sorts of things they can do to explore the different instruments. Once they've done that, once they've had their little turn in the middle, they can then go back to the circle, and whichever instrument they choose, they can use to accompany the song, playing along with the beat. So, for example, if I'd just chosen the claves and then I went back to the circle, I'd then use the claves to keep the beat while everyone else sang. Hot potato, pass it on. hot potato, pass it on. They might choose that fast beat or they might choose a slow beat. Hot potato, pass it on. Hot potato, pass it on. It doesn't matter. All the other children, to make sure they're feeling the beat as well, you can encourage them to either stamp while they sing, or if they're sitting down, they could tap their knees. So it's hot potato, pass it on, or hot potato, pass it on. Hot potato, pass it on. Okay, so that's the game Hot Potato. I'm just going to go through another game now. Now, this is called My Turn, Your Turn, Teddy. Now, you probably think, what has this got to do with percussion? Well, if you do it with a teddy, it doesn't have an awful lot. It's about keeping the beat, which is always really important in early years music. So the song goes like this to start with. Get the children, you can give the children a teddy, or choose, again, it's so you choose somebody, you can sit in a circle, and basically that child uses the teddy to bounce to the beat of the song, and while everyone else sings and keeps the beat on their knees. So it goes, bounce the teddy, it's fun to do, then it's time for someone new. My turn, your turn, we can share. My turn, your turn, then it's fair. Bounce the teddy, it's fun to do, then it's time for someone new. So what I want you to do is to make sure that the children are either tapping their knees or clapping their hands, whatever you want them to do, and the person who's got the teddy is bouncing the teddy in time with the beat. Now, you can obviously alter this to include percussion and to explore different percussion instruments and keeping the beat on different percussion instruments. So you might change the words. Instead of teddy, you might want to do this. Bang the drum, it's fun to do, then it's time for someone new. My turn, your turn, we can share. My turn, your turn, then it's fair. Bounce the teddy, it's fun to do, then it's time for someone new. So that's an example you could do with a drum. You could have a selection of instruments for them to explore. So perhaps you might have a shaky egg if it was reception or year one, reception or nursery children. Or perhaps in year one, you might replace the shaky egg for a maraca. So you might want to sort of shake the maraca, it's fun to do, then it's time for someone new. They might want to find the quicker beat, which is my turn, your turn, we can share. My turn, your turn, then it's fair. Shake the maraca, it's fun to do, then it's time for someone new. So you start with the teddy, and once they're familiar with the song, you can then explore lots of different instruments using that song. And it also, obviously, it's encouraging them to feel the beat, to feel the pulse in that music as well. Right, okay, next activity. Right. This one is actually, you're not singing this time. It's called I've Got a Tambour. Tambour is a drum, like a little bit like this one. Basically, the children sit in a circle with pairs of matching instruments in the middle. So you'll need to have two of everything. So 2 drums, 2 maracas, 2 claves, 2 tambourines, 2 guiros, whatever you're using. Everybody chants the words here. I've got a tambour, what can I do? I can tap it, now it's you. So basically, I'm going to chant, or the teacher or the leader, it could be a child if you're going to use this in Key Stage 1. They say, I've got a tambour, what can I do? I can tap it, now it's you. So they chant that, and then the other person would basically answer back. I've got a tambour, what can I do? I can scrape it, now it's you. So they have to try and find another way of exploring or making a sound on that instrument. Okay. Perhaps you could do that with a tambourine. So I've got a tambourine, what can I do? I can tap it, now it's you. And then the child might do, I've got a tambourine, what can I do? I can rattle it, now it's you. So that's a really nice way of exploring different ways of using instruments again. Okay. Now, this is called the Stop-Start song. And this is to the tune of London Bridge is Falling Down, which I'm sure you all know. It goes like this. Choose an instrument you can play. You can play, you can play. Choose an instrument you can play. What's your favourite? So again, it's ideally you want the children sat in a circle, stood in a circle. You want a large selection of instruments in the middle, all percussion, obviously, and handheld percussion instruments. You can pass a potato or a beanbag, whatever you've got handy around. And basically you sing that song. What I would do is try and encourage the children to sort of tap the beat when they're not passing the beanbag. But when the beanbag gets near to them, they can obviously take the beanbag and pass it on. So let's just try that. Tapping on ease while we're singing that song. Ready, go, choose an instrument you can play. You can play, you can play. Choose an instrument you can play. What's your favourite? So whoever the beanbag lands on, they go into the middle and they choose an instrument. So, for example, I'm just going to choose my drum, I think. Then you go. You can play and stop, play and stop, play and stop. You can play and stop, play and stop it. So this is about getting them to actually stop playing when they hear the word stop. Because lots of children, particularly early years children, will just make lots and lots of noise and they never want to stop. So this is about adding a little bit more control now, okay? But you can also play this with year one. They love this game too. So let's do that again. This time I'm going to use a tambourine. I'm sorry my instruments are a bit limited today, but I'm obviously not in school, so I've only got what's in my bag at home. Let's just try that from the beginning. So passing the beanbag round. Choose an instrument you can play. You can play, you can play. Choose an instrument you can play. What's your favourite? You can play and stop, play and stop, play and stop. You can play and stop, play and stop it. Okay, so obviously the person who got the beanbag went into the middle and chose a tambourine. Now, obviously some instruments, because they've got bells on them or they've got beads inside them, they're harder to stop than others. So really encourage the children to, to find ways of making that sound stop when you actually sing the word stop. And the children who aren't actually playing the instrument in the middle, encourage them to stop as well. So if they're tapping their knees to the beat, you can play and stop. Get them to hold their hands up like that on stop. So it's you can play and stop, play and stop, play and stop. You can play and stop, play and stop it. If you're feeling really brave, obviously you don't have to bother passing a beanbag around the circle and just choosing one child to actually play at one time. If you've got enough, if you've got a class set of Claves or a class set of shaky eggs or anything like that, you can get them all playing together on the beat of the instrument. Choose an instrument you can play, and then stopping on the word stop together. So it can be done as a sort of whole class activity, or just by sort of taking one person into the middle of the circle to begin with as well. Okay, so that's one of the activities. Let's move on. Now, this is what I call traffic lights. Unfortunately, I've left my traffic light at school, but basically I've got, it looks like a lollipop, basically. It's a ruler with a piece of red card on one side, piece of green card on the other. And I give all the children a percussion instrument, doesn't matter which one. This is just about getting them, again, to get used to stopping and starting and following a signal, which is so important in music, that we start together, we stop together, and we can follow signals, because later on, obviously, that's what children have to do when they perhaps in a choir or in a band or an orchestra. They have to be able to follow signals from the front. So I haven't got my traffic light, but if you can imagine, basically I'll use that as that's red and that is green. So if I do this, they can shake their percussion instrument, and if I do that, they stop. The other game I play, which doesn't involve traffic lights, is just literally when they hear something shake, like a maraca or a tambourine, they can shake their bodies, but when it stops, they have to freeze. So there are two versions of that game. One where you basically don't give them an instrument, so they just have to respond to you playing an instrument and stopping. And then the other version, which is the traffic lights version, which is when they can actually respond to the green and the red traffic light. They play their instrument on the green traffic light, and then they stop when they see the red traffic light. What's really nice, perhaps when children are a little bit older, perhaps, towards the end of reception or in year one, because they still love this game in year one, invite a child up to be the traffic controller. So give them the traffic light or the lollipop and get them to control what the children are doing. They really enjoy doing that. Okay, so we're just going to move on now. Right, this activity is more suitable for children in Key Stage 1, really. It's a song called Che Che Koole. If your school subscribe to Sing Up, there is a really, really cool version of Che Che Koole on Sing Up. But I've actually found one that's just on YouTube. There are lots of different versions that you can use. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play you this song. This is the version I found on YouTube, which is here on the slide. And then I'm going to tell you how you can use this song to introduce rhythm to the children, and also to explore different percussion instruments. Okay, so I'm just going to stop sharing this screen for a second. And I'm just going to find the Che Che Koole for you, so you can have a listen to the song. Okay, this is it. Don't know whether there are adverts at the beginning. No, we're all right. Here we go.
Hello, my name is Sandra. Let's sing together. Today I'm taking you to Ghana, a country in Africa. We will be singing a song, Che Che Koole, which is known as call and response song. I will start the melody and you repeat after me.
Kaka Shilanga,
Okay, I'm just going to stop presenting because I think you've probably got that song. Let's just go back. Okay, so basically that is the song Che Che Koole. If you know it, it's a call and response song. So the teacher, if you're teaching this song, would sing it first. So Che Che Koole, and then they sing back Che Che Kofinsa, Kofi Salanga, Kakashilanga, and then you touch your toes. Kum adende, so it's toes and your knees because I know you can't probably see me. And then they go kum adende. Then the last one they sing together. Kum adende, hey. So basically, when the children learn this, you can teach it like that, but you want them to encourage them to use some body percussion, so sounds using their bodies. So first of all, they tap their heads to the beat. Che Che Koole. Then they tap the shoulders. Che Che Kofinsa. Now notice that I actually tap the beat. Che Che Kofinsa. And not the rhythm. The rhythm would have been Che Che Kofinsa, which a lot of children will want to do. So make sure they're tapping the beat. Che Che Kofinsa. And then you tap your hips. Let me just see if I can alter the screen. So it's Kofi Salanga, again, tapping the beat or the pulse. Kofi Salanga. And then you tap your knees. Kakashilanga. And then you tap your toe and then your knees. Kum adende. So it's toes, knees. And they do that again. Toes, knees, hey, at the end. So kum adende, hey, and that's it. So once you've taught them the song, you can then start to get some instruments out. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go back to my slides because this tells you all the different things you can do with this song. So just bear with me while I find those again. Okay, lovely. Right, so we've done the first little bit here. We've taught the children the song, and it says here you can choose a child to go into the middle of the circle to keep the beat with the body action. Well, start perhaps with maybe a more able child doing that to demonstrate what you would like, but then invite everyone in the circle to do what we've just done. So to keep the beat with a body action, and I would suggest using the body actions that I've just done because they work really well because you start at the top of your body and move down. Then it says you could choose, once they've done that, you can then choose a child to go into the middle of the circle to play the beat on a drum. I put a mini djembe would be ideal. A djembe is actually the drum that comes from Africa. It was the drum that was shown in the video clip there. It's sort of like a goblet shape. But I haven't got a djembe today, so I'm just going to use the drum that I've got at home. So you can invite the child to go into the middle of the circle and then play the beat on the drum. So everyone can sing, Che Che Koole, Che Koole, Che Che Kofinsa, Che Che Kofinsa, Kofi Salanga, Kofi Salanga. So encourage the child to keep that steady beat on the drum. They will probably want to sometimes go into what they're singing. So they might go, Kofi Salanga, but that is the rhythm. I'm going to talk about that in a second. Once you've demonstrated that maybe with one child in the middle, you can then obviously, if you're brave enough, invite everyone, have everyone on an instrument. It doesn't have to be a drum. It could be a pair of claves. It could be a wood block, a shaky egg, anything they can keep the beat with. Okay, so you could get everybody playing that beat. Then, because this is a call and response song, rather than you singing the call, you can actually split the class into 2 groups. So half of the class can sing the call, so J, J, Kool-Aid, and the other half can sing the response. J, J, Kool-Aid, J, J, go Finza, J, J, go Finza. But the group that sings the response have to play the instrument as well. So not only are they singing, but they're also trying to keep the beat on the percussion. Now, the first time I've put keeping the beat, okay, or the pulse. Now, the beat is, or the pulse is the steady tick-tock, if you like, in the music. It doesn't change. It's constant. So it's a little bit like the second hand on a clock, just ticking away, okay? And it's like that. And the rhythm of a song hooks over the beat. It basically fits over the beat. And the rhythm is a pattern of long and short sounds that are constantly changing, that fits over that beat. So to start with, we're just keeping that beat. So group 1 will go, J, J, Kool-Aid. Then group 2 will go, J, J, Kool-Aid, J, J, go Finza, J, J, go Finza, Kofi Salanga, Kofi Salanga, Kakashilanga, Kakashilanga, etc. So that was keeping the pulse on their instrument. But then you could get them, the children on the instruments, to actually play the rhythm. Now, the rhythm of a song is basically everything you sing. So if you put everything you sing, I always often get the children to do this. They put everything, they blow everything they sing or say into their hands. So, J, J, Kool-Aid, J, J, Kool-Aid, J, J, go Finza, J, J, go Finza, Kofi Salanga, Kofi Salanga, Kakashilanga, Kakashilanga, Kum Adende, Kum Adende. You can see how that the rhythm is different to the beat. That's the beat of this song, or the pulse. But the rhythm is the rhythm that the words create. So, J, J, go Finza. And the second time, this next activity encourages you to split the class into 2 groups. Get the one group to sing the response, and then the other group play the rhythm of the response back. And again, that can be on any instrument, any handheld percussion instrument you might want to try on Claves. So let's try it on Claves this time. So group 1 sing, J, J, Kool-Aid, J, Kool-Aid, J, J, go Finza, Kofi Salanga, Kakashilanga, Kum Adende, Kum Adende, hey. And that's basically all the different things you can do with that song, Che Che Kool-Aid. And make sure, obviously here I've put one group sings whilst the other group plays. Make sure you swap that over so, you know, both groups get to play on the instruments. So it's all fair. Okay, right, I'm going to move on now. But I'm going to move on to an activity that I've prepared that you could do with Key Stage 2. The first little part of this lesson that you could do is a listening activity. It says, watch the YouTube clip, percussion instruments. I'm not actually going to play that now, but the link is there on the slide. And then ask the children questions afterwards about the clip. Basically, this clip demonstrates a variety of different percussion instruments, and it goes into the differences between a tuned and untuned percussion instrument, or a pitched and unpitched percussion instrument. So there's some questions at the end that you can ask the children once they've watched this clip. What is the characteristic of a percussion instrument? Well, the answer you want basically is that it's something that you strike, You shake, you hit, you bang, you scrape to make a sound. So any of those answers are good answers. And then what is the difference between a tuned or a pitched and untuned or unpitched percussion instrument? What I usually do to explain this is play them a nursery rhyme. And I say, this is a really well-known nursery rhyme. See if you can guess what it is. I'm going to play it on my claves. So see if you can guess what this nursery rhyme is. Now, the chances are they probably won't have a clue what you've just played, because what you've done is you've just played the rhythm of that song, of that nursery rhyme. You haven't put any notes. I then say, right, see, I'm now going to play that same nursery rhyme, but I'm going to play it on my chime bars. If you've got chime bars, they work brilliantly for this. If not, glockenspiels or xylophones are just as good. So see if you can work it out this time. It's the same nursery rhyme, but this time this is a pitched percussion instrument, a tuned percussion instrument. Okay, so I expect you all knew, and the children would instantly say Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, or some of them might say A, B, C, D, E, F, G, because they obviously sing the alphabet song to that tune. Now I say, why did you know? I then asked them, why did you know that it was Twinkle, Twinkle? The minute I played this, the chime bars or the glockenspiel. And what you want to try and get from them is that these, a glockenspiel or a xylophone or chime bars, they actually have different notes. You can play different notes on these instruments, so you can play the melody or a tune of a song. A pair of claves or a drum or a maraca only has one pitch, only has one type of sound. So you can only play the rhythm. So that's why they couldn't work out what the tune was. So that's basically the difference between tuned and untuned percussion. Tuned percussion instruments like xylophones, metallophones, chime bars, etc., they have notes and can play a tune or a melody. Untuned percussion like drums, tambourines, guiros, castanets, they can only play a rhythm, okay, because they don't have different notes. I then invite them to sort of give me some examples of different percussion instruments, perhaps 3 or 4 pitched percussion instruments and 3 or 4 untuned or unpitched percussion instruments, which I've mentioned. Okay, now once they've done that listening activity, oh sorry, I've just skipped that slide, we'll just go back. The actual performance activity is basically taught through using word rhythms. And words are a really good way to teach rhythms with words. The first one is this. Play the drum, play the drum. Can you clap that? Ready, go. Play the drum, play the drum, play the drum, play the drum. The second one is this. Drum, great big 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 drum. I'm doing these a few times because I haven't written the actual notation because I'm not sure whether you can read music notation or not. So I thought it's easier just to listen to me do it and then you can copy it. So those are the first two rhythms. The third rhythm is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, banana. 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 And the last one is I can play clave. I can play clave. I can play clave. I can play clave. Clave are basically claves. Some people call them clave, some people call them claves. It doesn't really matter. But for this particular purpose, we call them clave because it fits with the rhythm. So I can play clave. I can play clave. So you've got 4 rhythms there, which basically you practice with the children to start with. Get them all to clap or stamp or chest tap or head tap, all of those rhythms to start with. And then you can split the class into 4 groups and you allocate each of those rhythms or one of those rhythms to each group. As they get more and more confident, you can start with the first group, play the drum, play the drum, play the drum. And once they can clap that, you can then start layering up. By layering, I mean adding a group at a time. So you then have group 2 going drum, great big drum, great big drum, great big drum. So you've got 2 rhythms then going together. Then once they're secure, you can add the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, banana. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, banana. Okay. And then once those 3 groups are secure, add the claves or the clave group. I can play clave. I can play clave. I can play clave. Okay, so I don't get instruments out to start with. You want to make sure that the rhythms are secure, being clapped or stamped or chest tap, whatever body percussion you're using first before you introduce the percussion instruments. So when it is secure, just take you on to the next slide, you can then obviously introduce the instruments that you want to use. So for example, I'm just going to move these out of the way. For example, I've said, right, you could use a drum on the play the drum, play the drum, play the drum, play the drum. And if children are playing a drum, if you can encourage them to hold the drum in their non-dominant hand, so the hand they don't write with, and use their dominant hand to actually tap the drum, that's better really. So just try it. Play the drum, play the drum, play the drum, play the drum. So they need to keep that steady. They'll probably rush. So it's good if you can keep a nice steady beat, either on a wood block or a drum or anything. Just keep that beat so they can keep it steady. Play the drum, etc. Okay, so you could put a drum and play the drum. It doesn't matter. This is just what I've suggested, but you can use other instruments, whatever you've got. So drum and play the drum. On drum, great big drum, I've put a tambourine. Or if you've got a great big drum, you could use another drum, a different drum, maybe a djembe drum. So this rhythm will go drum, great big 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 drum, etc. Tambourines, I've seen all sorts of different techniques using tambourines. Children hold the tambourine in their dominant hand, in their writing hand, and the other hand, if they want to tap a rhythm rather than just rattle and shake, if they want to be accurate, I ask them just to basically put a high 5 hand on its side, keep this hand still, it doesn't move, and basically all the movement is in the wrist here. Okay, I've seen children sort of, they look like pterodactyls trying to take off, but you don't want that. You actually just want little movements in the wrist, then it makes it a lot more accurate. So drum, great big drum, great big drum, great etc. So that's group 2. So you just basically get them to layer these up, layer the sounds up. The third line, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, banana. I thought we could use a maraca. Again, a maraca is quite hard to control because it's obviously got lots of beads inside. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, banana. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, banana. If they're finding it hard to control playing it like that, I sometimes actually get them to tap it into their hands. And then again, it makes the rhythm a little bit more accurate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, banana. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, banana. Okay, and then the last rhythm was the I can play clave, and I think it's nice if you can get something similar to a clave here or claves. So I've got claves, but you can actually use wood blocks as well. Because we're key stage 2 in this activity, I would encourage the children to hold their clave or claves properly. In reception, I don't mind them holding like that, but obviously that stops the sound, so you don't get a very great sound played like that. If you actually hold the one clave along your thumb, tuck these other fingers in, basically there's a little sort of hole there, I would say a little mouse could get in there, and you tap. It just allows the sound to basically resonate down the whole length of the clay, so you get that really lovely tapping sound. I can play clave. Can you hear the difference? I can play clave. So I can play clave. I can play clave. So that's an example of something you could do with that. So you basically layer up those 4 rhythms. It will take quite a while. But once that is secure, you can then add a stop signal. It's really, really important in music, obviously, that we start together and stop together. And have a signal for this is probably the best way of going about it. So I haven't got anything here, but a cowbell or maybe an go-go bell is really good for this. So what I have got at home is a saucepan. I wouldn't necessarily use a saucepan in the classroom, but it's the reason you need a cowbell or something similar is because it will cut through all the other instruments. And it's got to be the stop signal, they need to be able to hear it. So the stop signal, you can imagine all playing their rhythms. We call that the groove. So they're in the groove, they're playing those rhythms. You've got 4 different rhythms all being played together, but you want to stop them. So you say, playing with your hands, and now we stop, stop. Just say that. Playing with your hands, and now we stop, stop. And again. Playing with your hands, and now we stop, stop. So basically, you have to play that, or the leader, that's you, the teacher, plays playing with your hands, and now we stop, stop. Listen to that again. So when the children hear that, they carry on playing their own rhythms, but they just stop on the second stop. So playing with your hands, and now we stop, stop. So on that second stop, they actually stop playing. So it's a way to get them to all stop together. You're going to have to practice that quite a few times, because the minute they hear this, they'll probably stop. But they can't stop until the second stop. So it's playing with your hands, and now we stop, stop. And then it's really, really tidy if we can do it like that. Okay, so that's the stop signal. That will stop the groove, the 4 different rhythms going on. If we want to try and structure a piece or structure a performance, we can add some clapbacks or copybacks. So you can try a few copybacks. So for example, you go playing with your hands, and now we stop, stop, and then you can play a 4-beat rhythm, and they'll go da, 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 da. So that was one rhythm I chose. You do it 4 times, and then you basically practice going back into the groove. So they've got to realise that it's 4 times. So it's da, da, da. That's the 4th time. Ba, 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 ba. Drum, great big drum, great big drum. Or I can play Claves. They go straight into whatever their groove was, if that makes sense. Obviously, you can make the copy back rhythms as simple or complicated as you like. You might want to do something like this. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. 3rd time. Da 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 da. 4th time. Da 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 da. Drum, great big drum, great big drum, or whatever their groove was. So that's how that copy back works. So you basically have the groove to start with. You bring them in one groove at a time, layer up. Then you use the playing with your hands, and now we stop, stop, to stop the groove. You then go into the copy back. They do that 4 times, and then they go straight back into the groove again. Now, the next section, I want to explore some improvisation. Now, in case you don't know what improvisation means, it basically means making up something on the spot. So it's not anything that is notated. It's not anything that they're hearing from you. It's something they've got to come up with on the spot. So we're going to try this. So basically, you go into the groove again, and then you might go playing with your hands, and now we stop, stop. And then you invite the whole class go, play some music, da, 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 da. Play some music. So you go out of the groove, playing with your hands, and now we stop, stop. Play some music. Play some music. Play some music. So everybody in the class or in the circle plays that rhythm. Play some music. But where I'm clicking, you then choose children to improvise in that gap. What I often do is, to make it fair, is just go around every child in order in the circle. So either clockwise or anti-clockwise. So they might do something like this. We all go, play some music. Play some music. Play some music. Play some music. That might be an idea of what you get. Obviously, you'll get it on different instruments because you've got 4 different sections of instruments, because you've got the 4 different rhythms in the groove. Okay, and then after you've got round the whole circle, they've all had a go at improvising, you can then go 1, 2, 3, 4, drum, great big drum, and you go back into the groove. And then, of course, you finish the groove by playing with your hands, and now we stop, stop on the cowbell or the saucepan, whatever you've got handy. Okay, so that is basically the Key Stage 2 activity. That can obviously be stretched out over a number of weeks, depending on how much experience the children have got with percussion and rhythms before. I just want to go back, because one thing you can do with this is obviously look at notation. So you can do things like play the drum, drum, great big drum. Now, depending on whether your children are learning to read notation or can, you can add things like this. So I would put these up on the whiteboard, and I'd ask them to try and match the words to the correct rhythm. So which one is drum, great big drum, great big drum, and which one is play the drum, play the drum. So that's obviously play the drum, ti, ti, ta, ti, ti, ta. And this one is drum, great big drum, great big drum, great big drum, great big ta, ti, ti, ta, ti, ti, ta, ti, ti, ta, etc. Okay. Now, we've almost finished. So I just want to take you onto my final slide. Okay. If you're a Sutton school, you've got access to Charanga, which is a scheme of work which is free for all Sutton schools. And there is a unit of work in Charanga called Reflect, Rewind and Replay. And it's got different activities that you can do within that unit. But I particularly like the rhythm grid. And this is something you can use to explore rhythms and different percussion instruments. And like I've said, this activity is suitable for Key Stage 1 or Key Stage 2 pupils, depending on the complexity of the rhythms and the range of percussion instruments you're using. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to exit this for a second. Just going to stop presenting. Okay. So I'm just going to present the Charanga tab to you now, so you can just see, just trying to find it for you. Where are we? Can't find, there it is. Okay. Right, so basically, if you go into Reflect, Rewind and Replay, I've chosen the Year 4 one, but there's one of these for every year group. You will find a rhythm grid, and you can use, obviously, if you're Key Stage 1, if you want to, you can use blob notation: ta, ti, ti, ta. So the children can drag and drop these rhythms in. Ti, ti, ta, ti, ti, and I want a rest here, a sh. Okay, so drum, great big, drum, great big. So that isn't great big, is it? So we need to swap that over. And then how about play the drum, play the drum. So ti, ti, ta, ti, ti, ta. And then you can add some other rhythms. So you can add maybe, I like to put a rest in here first. So we can have a sh, ti, ti, sh, ti, ti, and then ta, ti, 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 ta. Obviously, the children love coming up and dragging these into the boxes. You've got a little button here that you can hear what you've played. It is rather fast at 1:16, so take the tempo down by pressing the minus button. I normally take it to about 72 or 68 to start with, and then you can press here and you will hear it being played. So it goes on. If you want to alter the backing, the settings, you can have a rocks backing, you can have a Latin backing. So just so you can hear that, this is the Latin backing as opposed to the rock. Is it loading? It's not wanting to load at the moment. Okay, we'll just go back to the rock then. No, it's not wanting to work. But anyway, it gives you basically different backing tracks. If you want to, you can also change it for notes. So those are blobs, what I call blob notation. But these are notes. So this is exactly the same. Ta, ti, ti, ta, ti, ti. And what I do is one way of, obviously you can clap these rhythms, but I've split classes into 4 groups. I've said perhaps, right, if you're on a tambourine, you play the top row. If you're on a drum, you play the second row. If you're on claves, you play the third row. And if you're on a maraca, you can play the fourth row. And you just keep looping it, and they have to basically come in when it's their turn. The other thing they quite like as well, which gets them exploring percussion, but also really focuses them, is say, right, one group, I want one group, say the tambourines, to play all the tars. So all these notes, tar, 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 and tar. You might say, I want all the drums and maracas to play the T-Ts. So T-T, T-T. And nobody obviously plays in the rest. So you can split that up. Obviously, if this is key stage 2, we would want to introduce some semi-quavers or tiri-tiris. So you can make it a little bit more complicated by entering those. So that rhythm from the top would be ta, tiri-tiri, ta, ti-ti, ti-ti, ta, ti-ti, ta. Tiri-tiri, ti-ti, ta, ti-ti, tiri-tiri, ta. So again, you can just get them to play the whole thing on a percussion instrument all the way through. So ta, tiri-tiri, ta, ti-ti, ti-ti, ta, ti-ti, ta. Tiri-tiri, ti-ti, ta, ti-ti, tiri-tiri, ta. Okay. Or you can split it up again into rows. So again, say tambourines play row 1, drums play 2, maybe maracas on 3, and claves or woodblocks or something like that on 4. So that's something you can do using charanga. Right, I'm just going to stop presenting. I hope that's been useful and given you a few ideas, some warm-ups, some early years Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2 activities that you can do with your children to explore the percussion instruments you've got in your school. So if you need any extra help, or you want to ask me anything, you can just email me. And also, if you need a password for charanga, there might be somebody in your school that is the charanga lead who can give you that, or just again email me and I can try and sort that out for you. Okay, everyone. Well, I hope that's been useful. Take care and see you again soon. Bye-bye.